Hi, Jan here, and I know you're trying to figure out how can I teach my kids about the wind direction? How do I do that? Well, when we're working with kids, we talk to them about the cardinal directions. So north, south, east, and west. Never eat soggy waffles is one of those things that a lot of teachers will say. And when we're talking with young kids, I'm going to make my windsock out of this paper plate. I just had a party plate in my house, and this is what I'm using. So I would have the kids use a Sharpie and put an N for north up at the top. If they're really little, they might want to write the whole word north out so that they can remember what that stands for. And we would have a discussion. So, what's up north? Who lives in the north? Who's on the North Pole? They might think Santa Claus. Well, what do you think about that? There's snow, there's ice, it's cold. Okay, so when we have wind that's coming from the north, it might be kind of cold. It might feel cold to us. So, what's the opposite of the north? The kids might know that it's south. So, again, I would put an S, or I might just write the word south out if I want the kids to know that. Um, so the South, I would say, well, what's down south? Maybe they've been to Florida to visit their families, and they might say, oh, the South it's warmer there. If you have a world map, it makes it really easy. You can point out to them where things are. Then we might say east. Well, we live on the East Coast, and so what's to the east of us? You might point out that we live on the East Coast. We're right next to the ocean. It's a huge expanse of wet, lots of water that can be in that air. And opposite of us is the west. What's out west? They might think of like the desert, where it's sort of dry. So when I'm thinking about uh, wind and the weather that it might bring, I typically would say north is going to be where my cold wind is coming from. South is going to be where my warm air is coming from. East is going to be my wet air, and west is going to be my dry air. So that lets me know, because if I'm trying to determine what the weather's going to be, I want to be able to figure out where the wind is coming from. It will let me know how to prepare. So to make wind my wind direction plate here, I've got this piece of party ribbon, and I've got some tape. And if I were doing this with kids, I would have this already measured out. Be pretty easy. But here I'm just going to take this piece of tape, and I'm going to tape it to the bottom of my plate. I'm using packing tape, which I usually wouldn't use with kids because it's super sticky, and it's even super sticky for me. I'm making a mess even as we speak. I'm going to just attach this onto the bottom of my plate so that it looks like this. Now, if I take my wind speed and direction outside, if I have a compass, I can teach the kids how to read a compass, but if not, I might be able to I would have a discussion with them and say, where do we know that it is that's north? Or if I were going to drive to Boston, which I know is south, which direction would I drive? So I would try to find ways that the kids will understand which direction is the north or south or east or west. I know in my classroom I would have had north, south, east, and west written on the wall so the kids would automatically know. But if they don't know, it's something to have a conversation about. And you want to hold your plate so that the north is facing north and the south is facing you. So you want to take your plate and then move it in whichever direction is north, and I'll stand up so you can see. I'm sort of holding it in front of me like this so I can see where's the north, south, east, and west. If I were to take this outside, and I would hold it straight in front of me and see which direction the ribbon starts to move. If there's any wind, that ribbon is going to start to move. And we say that the wind gets its name from where it came. So that if my ribbon is pointing to the north, that means that the wind came from the south. If my ribbon is pointing to the east, that means that my wind came from the west. So that's how you make your wind direction tool of science. Now we can take it outside and see how it works. Good job, everybody.